Sometimes the most dangerous storms aren't the ones that roar from the sky. They're the ones that come from the people you thought you'd left behind forever, carrying destruction disguised as salvation. I was humming softly that morning, organizing Josh's home office while Zoe bounced happily in her seat beside me. The cottage was quiet, peaceful, until that knock shattered it like glass. It wasn't Josh's respectful tap. It wasn't Sarah's cheerful rat-tat. This knock was different, hard, demanding, familiar. Something inside me froze. I walked to the door, my heart thudding in my chest, and when I looked through the peephole, my blood ran cold. Ashley Cole. His hair was a mess, his clothes wrinkled, his face thinner than I remembered. But that same mix of desperation and arrogance was there, just like the last time I saw him. "Cindy," he called through the door, "I know you're in there. We need to talk." For a second, I thought about pretending I wasn't home, but of course that was the exact moment Zoe decided to let out a happy little gurgle. Ashley's pounding grew louder, sharper. "Open the door, Cindy. I'm not leaving until we talk." With trembling hands, I unlatched the top chain, just enough to open a small gap. "What do you want, Ashley?" He looked awful. Tired, strung out. The kind of tired that doesn't come from lack of sleep, but from bad choices piling up for years. "I want to come home," he said, just like that. "I made a mistake, okay?" I panicked. The whole birth thing freaked me out, but I'm ready now. I want my family back. I stared at him, speechless. "You're serious? You abandoned me during labor, stole our money, disappeared for 2 months, and now you think you can just show up like nothing happened?" "I was scared," he said, voice softening, that same manipulative tone I'd heard too many times before. "Seeing you in pain, all that blood, I couldn't handle it. I needed time to process." "You needed time to process," I repeated flatly, "while I was alone, broke, and caring for a newborn?" His face twisted. "But you weren't alone, were you? I heard about your sugar daddy. The whole town's talking about how Cindy landed herself a millionaire. How long after I left did you start spreading your legs for Josh Henderson?" That did it. The heat in my chest turned white hot. "Get off my property." "Now?" "This isn't your property," he sneered. "This is his. You're just the live-in, playing house until he gets bored and throws you out." "That's enough." I tried to close the door, but he shoved against it. The chain lock strained under the pressure, metal creaking. "You think he's going to marry you?" He laughed bitterly. "Men like that don't marry women like you, Cindy. They use them and throw them away. At least I offered you a ring." "A ring and a lifetime of disappointment," I shot back. "I'd rather be alone than with someone who runs the moment things get hard." "I'm here now," he said desperately. "I'm ready to be a father." "I want to see my daughter." "Your daughter?" I snapped. "You mean the daughter you abandoned? The one whose birth certificate doesn't even have your name on it because you couldn't bother to show up?" His expression hardened. "She's my blood, Cindy. My legal right. And I think any judge would love to hear about your current setup. Shacking up with a man she barely knows, living in sin, exposing her baby to God knows what." My stomach turned to ice. "You wouldn't dare," I whispered. "Oh, I already talked to a lawyer," he said smugly. "My mother's paying for it." She's very concerned about her granddaughter being raised in such an unsuitable environment. Before I could answer, I heard the sound of a car engine, smooth, deep, familiar. Josh's black Mercedes came up the drive faster than usual. I have never been so relieved to see anyone in my life. He parked, stepped out, and walked toward us, calm, composed, but I could see the tension in his jaw, the quiet storm brewing behind his eyes. "Is there a problem here?" Josh asked, voice calm but firm. Ashley took a step back. "No problem, just a husband trying to reconcile with his wife." "Ex-husband," I snapped. "The divorce papers were filed last week." Josh came to stand beside me, close enough that I could feel his warmth through the door. Just having him there made me feel stronger. "I think it's time you leave," Josh said quietly, but there was steel in his tone. Ashley looked between us and smirked. "Well, isn't this perfect? The happy little family. Tell me, Henderson, does she scream your name the way she used to scream mine?" Josh went still, his fists clenched. For a moment I thought he might actually hit him, and a small part of me wanted him to. "You have 10 seconds to get in your car and drive away," Josh said, his voice low, controlled, deadly. Part of me wanted him to. "You have 10 seconds to get in your car and drive away," Josh said, his voice low, controlled, deadly. "Or I'll call the police and have you arrested for trespassing." "You can't keep me from my daughter forever," Ashley snapped, but he was already backing toward his car. "I have rights, and my mother has connections, judges, lawyers, people who matter." Josh's voice was ice. "Your family ended the day you walked away. If you ever threaten Cindy or Zoe again, you'll find out how many connections I have in this town." Ashley climbed into his car, rolled down the window, and gave me one last sneer. "This isn't over, Cindy." Think about what I said. Think about what's best for Zoe. Is growing up as the bastard child of a rich man really what you want for her? He drove off, tires screeching, gravel spraying everywhere. And that's when my body gave out. My legs just stopped working. Josh reached through the door, his hand finding mine. "Cindy, let me in." I unhooked the chain with shaking fingers, and he stepped inside, pulling me into his arms. "He can't take her," I whispered against his chest. "Can he?" "Legally, he doesn't have any rights, right?" Josh held me tighter. "We'll make sure he doesn't." "I'll call my lawyer today." Then he paused, his voice softer. "But Cindy, why didn't you tell me about the divorce papers?" I looked up at him, tears stinging my eyes. "I didn't want you to think I was using you to escape my marriage. The divorce, it was something I had to do for me, not for us." Josh smiled faintly. "For us, huh?" I liked the sound of that. Despite everything, he cupped my face. I found myself smiling, wiping away tears I didn't even realize had fallen. "But promise me something," he said gently. "No more secrets. We face things together." "Together," I said. And in that moment, it felt like a promise. Zoe made a small sound from her seat, almost like she could sense the tension in the room. Josh went to her immediately, lifting her into his arms. His voice turned soft and tender. "It's okay, princess. No one's going to hurt you or your mama. I promise." Watching him hold her like that, I felt my heart swell in a way that scared me, a feeling I wasn't ready to name. Because even as I watched them, Ashley's words still echoed in my head. What if he's right? What if being with Josh makes things worse? What if my happiness gives him the ammunition to take Zoe away from me? The thought hit like a cold blade in my chest, and in that moment, I realized something terrifying. If it ever came down to losing Zoe or losing Josh, I knew exactly who I'd have to walk away from.